Marvin Sapp's son finally confirms what we all feared. For months, fans and followers noticed something unusual about Marvin Sapp's son. The man who was often active on social media, sharing glimpses of his life, achievements, and personal thoughts, had suddenly gone silent. No updates, no messages, not even a hint of the struggles he might have been facing. This unexpected quiet sparked speculation across fan communities and social media platforms. People began to wonder if something serious was happening behind the scenes, and the silence only fueled their curiosity and concern. The tension was subtle at first. Observers noticed missed events, skipped appearances, and a general sense of withdrawal. Close friends and acquaintances hinted at a difficult time, but none shared specific details. Every day that passed without clarification added to the anticipation. Fans felt a growing unease, sensing that this silence was not random. It carried weight. Marvin Sapp himself, known for his strong family bond and protective nature, seemed more reflective and cautious than usual. His private concern added to the audience's emotional investment, making everyone feel the gravity of the situation without knowing exactly what was happening. Before Marvin Sapp's son finally spoke, there were subtle hints that something serious was going on, small signals that fans and close observers began to notice. It started with cryptic social media posts, messages that seemed simple at first but carried a deeper, more emotional tone. Phrases about overcoming struggles, finding strength in dark times, or taking a step back to heal were noticed by those who followed him closely. Though he never revealed specifics, the undertone was clear. He was dealing with something significant. Other small signs added to the concern. He began missing appearances and events that he would normally attend without hesitation. Friends and family members, when asked casually, offered vague but telling comments like, "He's going through a lot right now," or "He's dealing with some things privately." These remarks, though brief, gave the public a sense that the matter was serious and required respect and patience. It became clear that the silence was not avoidance. It was careful consideration, a time to process before revealing the truth. Fans began piecing together these subtle clues, creating their own theories while waiting anxiously for confirmation. Every cryptic post, missed event, and quiet interaction was analyzed, discussed, and shared across social media platforms. The sense of anticipation grew daily, blending concern, empathy, and curiosity. People didn't want to jump to conclusions, but the consistent patterns pointed toward a personal struggle that had been long feared. The tension was palpable, creating an atmosphere where everyone felt emotionally connected, almost as if they were sharing in the weight with Marvin Sapp and his family. This period of subtle signs built the emotional foundation for the eventual confirmation. It prepared the audience, making them feel the weight of the story even before the truth was officially revealed. The careful hints, the quiet observations, and the growing concern created suspense, ensuring that when Marvin Sapp's son finally spoke, the audience would fully understand the gravity of the moment and the emotional significance of his words. As the subtle hints continued, the fear that fans had quietly carried for months began to take shape. People had sensed that something serious was happening, but until this point, the details remained unknown. The speculation ranged from personal struggles to health concerns, and each theory seemed more worrisome than the last. The public's fear wasn't rooted in gossip. It was rooted in genuine concern for someone they admired and respected. Marvin Sapp, known for his integrity and family devotion, had always shown his children as strong and resilient, so the idea that his son might be facing a significant challenge felt heavy and disheartening. This fear extended beyond the audience. It reached close friends and family members who shared quiet glances and private worries. Marvin himself, aware of the growing speculation, carried the weight of protecting his son while also understanding that the truth could no longer remain hidden. There was a delicate balance between respecting privacy and acknowledging reality. This tension made the situation feel urgent, emotional, and deeply human. Fans and community members could feel the emotional gravity, even without knowing the full story, because there was a shared understanding that the situation was serious. The fear everyone held was amplified by the silence and the subtle signs they had noticed. Missed events, cryptic messages, and private comments from those close to the family created a growing sense that something impactful was about to be revealed. It was a fear mixed with hope. Hope that the challenge was manageable, hope that the family would stay strong, but fear that the reality might be worse than imagined. Every post, every minor update, and every speculation carried weight, keeping the audience emotionally invested in the unfolding story. This stage of the narrative set the tone for the ultimate confirmation. By building the emotional stakes, the story created a deep connection between the audience and the family. People weren't just observers, they felt like part of the journey, experiencing worry, empathy, and anticipation. The fear that everyone held was no longer abstract. It was personal, shared, and palpable, making the eventual revelation all the more impactful, emotional, and significant. Finally, the moment everyone had been waiting for arrived. Marvin Sapp's son broke his silence, addressing the fears, speculation, and rumors that had circulated for months. He spoke with honesty and vulnerability, carefully choosing his words, yet unable to hide the raw emotion behind them. The confirmation was not just a statement, it was a release of months of tension, worry, and uncertainty, both for him and for everyone who had been following his story. In his statement, he acknowledged the struggle he had been facing, a deeply personal challenge that had weighed heavily on him. He spoke openly about the difficulties, the emotional toll, and the moments of doubt that had made the silence necessary. At the same time, he expressed gratitude for the support he had received from his family, friends, and fans, showing a sense of humility and strength that resonated with listeners. There was a mixture of fear, relief, and hope in his words, making the confirmation both heartbreaking and inspiring. The audience's reaction was immediate and intense. Social media erupted with messages of support, empathy, and admiration for his courage. Fans expressed relief that the truth was finally out, while others reflected on their own lives, drawing inspiration from his honesty. Marvin Sapp himself responded with visible emotion, standing by his son and reinforcing the message of love, unity, and resilience. The father-son bond, already strong, became a central focus, highlighting the importance of family support in navigating life's challenges. This confirmation transformed the story from speculation to reality, but it did so in a way that emphasized authenticity and emotional honesty. The audience was not just informed, they felt the weight of the struggle, the courage it took to speak, and the relief of finally acknowledging the truth. It was a pivotal moment that elevated the story beyond curiosity or gossip, turning it into a powerful narrative about vulnerability, courage, and the human experience. By the end of this stage, the emotional connection between the family and their supporters had deepened, and the story had taken on a life of its own. The confirmation wasn't just an answer, it was a moment of empathy, reflection, and emotional resonance that set the stage for the next chapter. The family's support system, public reaction, and the lessons everyone could take from this experience. After the confirmation, the focus naturally shifted to the family, the core support system that had been quietly holding everything together. Marvin Sapp's response was immediate yet measured, showing both concern and unwavering support for his son. He expressed pride in his son's courage for finally speaking out, while also reinforcing the importance of family unity during difficult times. The father's calm presence, his reassuring words, and his open display of love provided a sense of stability, not only for his son, but also for fans who were watching every development closely. It wasn't just Marvin who played a vital role. Close relatives, mentors, and friends rallied quietly behind the scenes, offering emotional encouragement and practical support. Conversations, private visits, and heartfelt guidance became the pillars that helped his son navigate the emotional storm. The story highlighted the often unseen but critical role that a family and community play in times of personal struggle. It showed that while public attention can be intense and sometimes overwhelming, the real strength comes from the people standing quietly beside you, ready to catch you if you falter. The family's handling of the situation sent a powerful message about resilience, love, and solidarity. Rather than reacting with defensiveness or denial, they embraced the truth and stood together, demonstrating that vulnerability does not weaken a family. It strengthens it. Marvin's public support of his son became a symbol of unwavering parental care, reminding everyone that behind the headlines and public speculation, there is a human story filled with emotion, care, and responsibility. Fans and the wider audience could see the impact of this support system. Social media buzzed not just with curiosity about the revelation, but with admiration for the family's strength and cohesion. Many praised the openness, the honesty, and the emotional authenticity, noting that it was rare to witness such a dignified, loving response in the public eye. The narrative shifted from fear and speculation to empathy and inspiration, emphasizing that even in difficult situations, family and community can create a foundation of hope and resilience. By the end of this part, it was clear that the story was no longer just about a personal struggle. It was about the power of love, the importance of standing together, and the ways in which support can help someone face even the most challenging moments in life. The audience was emotionally invested, ready to see how the public would respond next, and deeply connected to the human lessons embedded in this journey. Once Marvin Sapp's son confirmed the struggle he had been facing, the public reaction was immediate and widespread. Social media platforms were flooded with messages of support, empathy, and encouragement. Fans expressed relief that the truth was finally out, but also admiration for the courage it took to speak openly about a deeply personal matter. Every comment, tweet, and post reflected a shared emotional experience, showing that the story had resonated far beyond the immediate fan base. The reactions were not limited to words of encouragement. Many fans shared personal stories of similar struggles, creating a sense of connection and solidarity. People discussed their own challenges, expressing how seeing someone in the public eye confront such a situation gave them hope and reassurance. It became more than just a celebrity revelation. It became a shared human experience, highlighting the universal need for understanding, compassion, and emotional honesty. The audience wasn't merely observing. They were engaging, reflecting, and empathizing. Traditional media and online outlets also weighed in, covering the story with a mix of reporting and human interest focus. Headlines emphasized courage, family support, and emotional honesty rather than sensationalism. Analysts and commentators discussed the broader significance, how speaking the truth, even when difficult, can inspire others and create a culture of openness. The narrative shifted from fear and speculation to one of empathy, admiration, and reflection, with Marvin Sapp's family being praised for their handling of the situation. This public response amplified the emotional impact of the story. It reinforced that the confirmation wasn't just a personal revelation. It was a moment that touched thousands of lives, sparked important conversations, and created a collective sense of hope and connection. Fans were inspired, discussions flourished, and social media became a space for positive engagement rather than gossip or judgment. The story demonstrated the power of honesty and the profound effect it can have when shared with a supportive audience. By the end of this stage, it was clear that the public reaction was not simply a response to celebrity news. It was a reflection of empathy, community, and shared human experience. The audience, emotionally invested, was left contemplating the courage it takes to face personal challenges openly, the importance of family support, and the impact of vulnerability in a world that often values appearances over truth. Beyond the confirmation and the public reaction, the story of Marvin Sapp's son carried important lessons for everyone watching. One of the clearest messages was the value of honesty and vulnerability. By finally speaking openly, he not only addressed personal struggles, but also created a ripple effect of understanding and empathy. The courage to face the truth, even when it was uncomfortable or frightening, demonstrated a strength that went far beyond physical or professional achievements. It reminded the audience that admitting challenges is not a weakness, but a powerful step toward healing and growth. Another key takeaway was the importance of support systems. Marvin Sapp's unwavering presence, the care of family and close friends, and the quiet encouragement from those around him all played a crucial role in helping him navigate this period. The story highlighted that even in the most difficult moments, the love and guidance of others can provide stability, hope, and the emotional strength to move forward. For viewers, it reinforced the idea that leaning on loved ones is not only acceptable but essential during trying times. The story also encouraged empathy and understanding from the audience. Watching someone face struggles in the public eye reminded fans that everyone, regardless of status or success, experiences challenges. The lessons extended beyond this family to a universal truth. Life can be difficult, and we all need patience, compassion, and support to navigate it. By seeing the journey of struggle, confirmation, and support, viewers were invited to reflect on their own lives, relationships, and ways they respond to the struggles of others. Finally, the narrative illustrated resilience and hope. Even amidst fear, uncertainty, and public scrutiny, Marvin Sapp's son faced the situation with honesty, family backing, and personal courage. The experience showed that confronting problems directly, seeking help, and remaining authentic can transform a challenging moment into a story of growth and inspiration. These takeaways made the story meaningful, not just as entertainment or gossip, but as a reflection on human experience, emotional strength, and the power of connection. By the end of the stage, the audience was not just informed, they were inspired. The story provided practical and emotional lessons about honesty, resilience, empathy, and the importance of family support. It created a lasting impact, turning a moment of personal struggle into a universal narrative that anyone could relate to, reflect on, and learn from.